First of all, I would like to thank the New Institute and Francesca for the invitation and the opportunity for sharing with all of you the different initiatives that are carried out from our DG, from DG Connect, and our unit, Smart Technologies for Communities. And actually, it's completely in tune with what both of you were introducing. We're interested in making cities aware of the opportunity. The Digital Europe program is basically about moving forward with the opportunities of data. Data is the next revolution in business. New services, the federation of data, we have been seeing that in the United States up to now, how they are making a lot of money, the big companies, Facebook, Google, and that's the new opportunity, but from our own point of view. But the most critical problem is that in Europe we have, as you very well introduced, very strict regulations which in most cases are not complementary because they are different in member states, and that's the role of the European Union. That's why the Data Act is becoming a reality. It has taken a lot to be developed, but that's the first step, because on top of data, we need to implement services, we need to implement AI and digital twins. Let's move forward very quickly. So what happens with our data? We have different opportunities and problems. We have the requirements, they have to be EU market, business center, they have to be efficient, scalable, and for achieving all these challenges to the use of data, we have to make sure that we are breaking data market control, in the sense that if the big companies are taking the power of our own data, that's what's happening in most cases, we are in a very weak situation. That's why the EU legislation will help not only through open data, but through the different schemes, the blueprints, and the aggregated value of the federation of all these data spaces into delivering the real value for data, not by themselves, but into the implementation of services and also cross-border data innovation. Most of the examples that you were introducing for Hamburg have been a reality in all places. Every city is different in that sense. You have to tune up, but it's very good to even incorporate some of the instances that are already available, use the testing facilities. There are different projects, we'll introduce them later, that come very handy to the actual implementation of all these things. In the end, we also want to avoid the big American companies locking in the power not only of our data but our services. Most platforms have begun using solutions from different companies, I won't say the names, that in the end make it very difficult to scale, to share experiences, and to grow in a sustainable way. That we also want to address that point in the Digital Europe program, and in the end make the EU the next power in the market, because we have that opportunity if we agree on to the basic terms. Legislation can help up to a point, but then it's up to us, to the citizens in Europe, to collaborate and to go forward into the data sharing, breaking the technical obstacles, and when possible, sharing data widely. That's the open data approach, or the high-value data sets, and then creating all these poolings, these good opportunities, even the big buyer platform that would facilitate in all the different processes. So, for example, taking a focus on the high-value data sets. Those are the categories that have been already been established for the legislation: geospatial, Earth observation, meteorological statistics, private companies, they also appear in the high-value data sets, and mobility. Those are the typical instances where there are a great variety of opportunities for delivering. For example, for the city of Hamburg, you're interested in net zero cities. Perfect. You have either to implement a network of the Internet of Things, sharing data, or even take satellite data. There's an initiative of the European Commission, the Destiny, the digital twin of the Earth, which will provide free for all the Europeans, not only the data and the historical data, but also the services in order to deploy energy applications, just to control how to move forward into the different strategies, and even concentrating on delivering new artificial intelligence-based opportunities by doing things together. Okay. In the end, the high-value data sets, the important point, because these are the ones which are normally most accessible. They should be available free of charge, machine readable, provided the APIs. So in a way that citizens can use, and overcoming the limitations of regulation. Whenever you incorporate personal data, you have to randomize it, to aggregate the data in order so that you are fulfilling the legal requirements and being able to share data. You have there the detail on how to implement this data. In the end, this is the maze that we have to handle around data. You have the different columns which relate to the different problems, data sovereignty, trust, interoperability, and in the end, the most important one, which is data value creation. For allowing the access to all data, we have to develop data space connectors. We need to federate data in a way that through different data models, through APIs, and through the technical elements providing the security, the trust on where the data comes from, where it's used, and nobody in between can do anything about that, incorporate them into different basic uses, access and usage of policies, identity management, for example, something that seemed very complicated in COVID. The COVID pass, it happened. Why? Because everybody needed to that, and it was valid at EU level. It went through very, very quickly, and there was no problem on security, on regulation. Everything was fulfilled and working very well streamlined. That's the kind of opportunities that we have to face in Europe. We are 26, 27 member states, other smaller countries that should also join in this. And the biggest value is aggregating all this information, of course, with compliance to regulations, to laws, with everything, but providing, in the end, services, discovery services for achieving your own interest, and marketplaces where you can create, be innovative, and develop the challenge of this new business case, which is data, which is very relevant in the future. So we know that there are different sources of data. Some of them are public. They can be shared through high-value data sets. The policies can be considered in this. But in the end, we need to interact. If we keep the data isolated at our own niches, in our own silos, it's impossible to create value. It's very good for an individual or even for a city to handle the most important elements, but you need to incorporate, as I would say, different repositories, economic data coming from other sources, from different ministries at the state level. How can it be done? And this is our approach, the smart middleware platform, which in the end is the way to facilitate a clear offering of data, the data catalog, which is shared under different governance policies and will be implemented very soon in a pilot for data spaces on smart communities. Through that pilot, what we want to achieve is that cities which are interested in trying these new scenarios, in collaborating with others, is completely valid for anyone who has that interest to begin solving the problem of discoverability, the security, the different scalability and elasticity problems, because every city, every source of data has a different story. And for that, adequate management of the information of the challenges, you need to collaborate with others and be aware of these opportunities in an interoperable environment. From our unit, we are developing what we call the minimal interoperability mechanisms in ITU with the real work from the community, from Living EU and Open and Agile Smart Cities, into these MIMS, minimal interoperability. What's it in the end? That all data services that are compliant and that can be tested and certified with these MIMS can be put into service, read by the catalog, and implemented for further work. In the end, we are also providing elements, what we call the local digital twins toolbox. Let me start from data. The next layer is the platform, which begins to develop the obvious services, meaning when can I find my bus, where's the next route, or how can I save energy at very different levels, at city level, but also at the private level. But this is limited. The next step is the creation of digital twins. For example, Hamburg is developing one digital twin that is probably going into the harbor. There are other very important harbor cities in Europe, like Rotterdam, like Valencia, who are also developing these digital twins, and the collaboration is a very good opportunity. How should we work on this? Each city developing their own twin. Probably the twins are different, but there are different tools, different elements that can be easily shared, and that will be paid by the European Commission. That will be offered. This is a procurement that we are finishing, and will be implemented by the end of next year. So again, being aware of all this information, even providing 3D information for all the cities in Europe, that can create a very relevant opportunity for the future. Let's move on quickly. Following step, what we call the cityverse. If we speak about virtual reality or the metaverse, the Facebook blend of this virtuality, you all know, but we want to focus on the citizens for allowing their participation in urban developments in tasks where they can better understand what's happening through this. And you have there the call, the link to the call, which is open for cities wanting to implement this. And in the end, we have the ethics, the European Digital Infrastructure Consortium. That's the latest idea from the Commission, which will implement legal entities which are developed by member states. Actually, Germany is one of the member states who has initiated the local digital twins and cityverse edict. And the member states will decide and will create different opportunities. You have all the edicts that have been presented and approved. There is one about public data, for example, that you are developing, and it's going to be implemented soon. And here, the member states and the governance that will be developed in the ethics will create the opportunities to put to the best use the results from projects, from research, from different elements that up to now have been lost. After a project is finished, what happens? Some cities can use it, but it would be better for everybody to be able to use it. Well, this is all I wanted to share with you. You have the different possible benefits and ideas. The slides will be shared through the organization, and that's all I wanted to say. Thanks very much for your attention.